We are brushing up our relationship skills once again today. David Hebb joining us from Fortitude Counselling and Consulting. Welcome back to the show.
Nice to see you again.
Good to see you as well. We're talking a little bit about communication. We're going to talk a little bit about a board game you can get as well to work on your relationship.
Yeah, you know, it's important that when, I work with individuals and specifically couples, it's all about recognizing different styles of communication. Who's good at this, who might be a little better at that, and really accommodating the strengths within the relationship and going forward from there. So I think today what I wanted to talk about first is just how communication happens and different ways of asking the right questions. So I've prepared a couple of different slides, and I've kind of titled it Asking the Right Questions: Critical Times and Decisions to Serve Meaningful Conversations, because those are full or come up quite regularly in our relationships, and it's important. So the first slide after this one is a bit of a graph on the factors affecting communication, right? So if you look at this, your typical pie graph, obviously equaling 100%. If you look at the large purple side on the left of your screen, you're seeing actually what's referred to as nonverbal communication. So that's how we look: eye contact, body language, posture, whether our arms are crossed, whether we're leaning into the person, if we're able to kind of nod our head, things like that. The second one, the red one, is actual the vocal communication. That's how we speak. The tone of our voice, the volume of our voice, the way we put emphasis on different words in a sentence even, really makes it so that when we communicate, it affects the message that we're trying to deliver. And then the small one there, the 7%, the orange-colored C, that's our verbal communication. That's actually the words we say. It's the smallest amount of how we communicate, but really, we often see it as being the most important thing, when really it actually has the least amount of impact, depending on how we're delivering our message and the type of vocalization we're using in that delivery with our verbal and nonverbal communications.
Yeah, I believe that. Absolutely.
Yeah, so it's kind of neat.
Okay, the next slide.
So what I did is I have a few props we're going to look at afterwards, but I just took a few of the questions from some of the decks of cards I use in my practice. So these are some questions before marriage or moving in. So, how would you balance competing time with work and family? Which friends of your partners maybe do you like the most? Which ones do you like the least? And lastly, what's the plan for the monthly costs of living together? Who will pay for what? Important things to go through rather than just kind of cohabiting together and then trying to figure it out from there. That can be very difficult and cause undue strain and difficulty.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right.
Moving on, obviously before becoming parents, what is the influence surrounding the decision to know the gender of the baby? Some people like to have that. Some people prefer to be surprised. Other people see it as a decision that's near and dear to them. So it's important to communicate about that. What are the positive qualities of the different families you admire? What are the things from this person's parenting style you'd like to take? What things do you see in your partner that could maybe be adapted by including some of the things that they see? And lastly, what helps you cope with stress, and how are you when you're sleep deprived? On the last board here, as you age together, or maybe with more mature relationships, what are the things about your past relationships or relationship that are more important to you? Have those meaningful conversations. How do your children define your strengths as a parent? And also importantly, your partner's strengths. Which things are you good at? What are they good at? And lastly, what are the three most important moments in your lives together so far? And then how do you build on those going forward, right? It's not just about going through the motions, it's about the meaningful activity as to what those motions provide.
Good thought-provoking questions there. Let's talk about what's on the coffee table here. We have a board game called Couples Retreat.
Yeah, Couples Retreat. So there's the front of the box there that I'll just kind of hold up.
Okay.
We've got the board actually on the glass table in front of us. It's a lighthearted game that can be used by either one couple playing by themselves, or you can play with multiple couples in an event to try and come up with different fun ways of addressing things that happen in a relationship, and not super serious things like infidelity or money issues or what have you, but things like small trust issues, life decisions, different ways of when you can entertain two different paths. Well, one person might want this, one person might want that, and there's challenging questions to kind of entertain the other person's point or opinion, but importantly be able to get your opinion across too.
Can we read one? Let's read one.
Sure. Well, these are just kind of wild card facts. So this one says, how should the two of you discuss oh, this is a sensitive one, lovemaking, including topics such as difference in needs, reflect on them, and then share.
Don't you love it? You picked up that one?
You know what? If I wasn't read enough already, that's certainly going to get me over the top, that's
good.
for sure. But then that's representative of how relationships are organic in nature, and
yes.
It's important that you're ready to tackle anything that comes along.
Tell me this, you've obviously told some of your clients you should try this, and what have they said to you? That it works, it helps?
It is. It's a more contemporary way of approaching things rather than your traditional sit on the couch and talk about feelings, right? And so it's it's a way of meaningfully looking at situations without feeling the pressure that sometimes comes with intense conversations.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think we're about out of time and getting the hand wave. Thank you for being here today.
Always a pleasure.
If you have any questions for David Hebb, you can certainly get a hold of him at CamelsCounselling.ca, as well as the phone number 819-5998. We're back in 2 minutes. Stay with us.